All right, part two. So if you did great on the graphing, hopefully you didn't watch part one. And if you did great on this section, hopefully you're not watching this video. So we are looking at the equation and trying to find the relevant parts. So the amplitude is the first number. So that is 5. The frequency is this number outside of the parentheses. So it is 2/3. The period equals 2 pi divided by the frequency. So in this case, 2 pi over 2/3. So to solve that, I have to multiply by the reciprocal. The 2's are going to cancel out, so I have 3 times pi for a period of 3 pi. Inside parentheses, that's my horizontal shift, so it is going 7. And it is going 7 to the right. We always want to make sure we include that directionality. The vertical shift, what's outside the parentheses, that is 3. It's positive, so it's going up. And because there is no negative out front, or negative x, there is no reflection. That is what you should have for the first problem. Second problem, again, first number is my amplitude. So it is 6. This is always positive. The negative out front determines whether it's been reflected over the x-axis. So your amplitude is 6. It is not -6, always positive 6. My b value is 3 pi. My period, again, is 2 pi over b. So 2 pi over 3 pi. Pi's are going to cancel out. My period is going to be 2/3. I have a horizontal shift inside the parentheses of 12. And because it is plus, it means it is going to the left. My vertical shift is outside parentheses, so 14. Because it is negative, it means it is going down. And then I do have a negative out front in this problem, which means there will be a reflection. So that's breaking down all the parts of the equation. So finishing up, let's take a look at the solving. Making sure you all have your unit circles available, as that's what we'll need. It is simple algebra to isolate the trigonometric function. So first I'm going to subtract 2 radical 3 from both sides. I don't like yellow. Which gives me -2 radical 3. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 4. And then I'm going to simplify my fraction. So 2 over 4 is going to become 1 over 2. So I'm going to end up with negative radical 3 over 2. So now I'm going in my unit circle to find out where the sign value is negative radical 3 over 2. And that occurs at 2 places. First, at 4 pi over 3. And second, at 5 pi over 3. And then the last thing I need to check is what am I looking for? So I'm looking for all possible solutions. In that case, I need to include my plus 2 pi k because it's going to repeat every cycle, every rotation, which is 2 pi. So those are my 2 answers for number 1. Number 2, I want to isolate this trigonometric function. So I'm going to add 5 halves to both sides. 5/2 minus 1/2 is 2. Now I have to remember my identities. Secant is equal to 1 over the cosine of x, as secant is not on my unit circle specifically. And to get cosine of x, I need to take the reciprocal. And if I do that to one side, I must do it to the other side. So now I have got to figure out where on my unit circle is cosine 1/2. And that occurs at pi over 3. And 5 pi over 3. And then I'm just going to double check. But yep, I only want it on this interval, so I do not want plus 2 pi k, because that'll go beyond my restricted interval. So these are my solutions. Now let's take a look at the last one. So again, first thing I'm going to do is add 14.7 to both sides. And negative 14.7 plus 14.7 is 0. I'm then going to divide both sides by negative 17.2. And the tangent of 4x equals 0. Now I want to think about this because I cannot do anything inside parentheses. I can't divide by 4. I can't subtract the 4. This is where I am isolated to. So if I change this to the tangent of theta equals 0, I want to know where is tangent 0. And this occurs at 3 places on the unit circle. Because tangent is sine divided by cosine, I need to find the ordered pairs in which the second value, the sine value, is 0. And that occurs when theta equals 0, because I'm at the coordinate 1, 0. So 0 divided by 1. That occurs when theta equals pi, because I'm at the coordinate negative 1, 0. And 0 divided by negative 1 is 0. And that occurs a third time on the unit circle at 2 pi, when I'm back at 1, 0. Now, if you did pi over 2, that is the coordinate 0, 1. So if I'm doing sine over cosine, that's 1 divided by 0, which is undefined. I cannot divide anything by 0. So I know theta equals 0, pi, and 2 pi. But I don't have theta, I have 4x. So I'm just going to set 4x equal to my 3 values. 4x equals 0. 4x equals pi. And 4x equals 2 pi. And now I'm just going to solve by dividing both sides by 4 in each time. So 0 divided by 4 is 0. I divided by 4 is pi over 4. And 2 pi divided by 4, when I simplify it, becomes pi over 2. And these are my 3 solutions. Again, I have the restriction of between 0 and 2 pi, so I'm not adding the plus 2 pi k. So it is just those 3 solutions that solve this problem. Don't hesitate to reach out to myself, Mr. Mercier, if you need any additional assistance with these. Good luck on the assessment this week, and then the short lesson that is after it.